The Attorney General's Chambers has dismissed PKR MP's concerns over the judiciary. However, Rafizi Ramli has fired back, saying their response only fuels speculation. Meanwhile, a senior PKR lawmaker said the PKR MP's push for an RCI signals a loss of faith in Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. Stay tuned for all this and more. The Attorney General's Chambers has responded to concerns raised by several PKR MPs over a potential crisis in the judiciary and their call for an RCI. In a statement today, the AGC said claims on delays in judicial appointment and failure to act on prior nominations must be seen from a constitutional perspective. It said the Prime Minister can't be considered a mere conduit to accept recommendations from any quarters. Instead, it said he has a constitutional responsibility to advise the Yang di-Pertuan Agong in order to protect the independence, credibility, and integrity of the judiciary. The AGC added that the Agong had consented to the appointments of several High Court and Court of Appeal judges last month, but that it is still in the process of going through several formalities. It also addressed claims that a federal court judge had allegedly interfered in judgments and judicial appointments. The AGC said the allegations were serious. However, it said deliberations in the Judicial Appointments Commission, where the allegations were raised, are confidential and protected by law. It added that the allegations can't be considered as proven misconduct or affects judicial independence and remains as premature allegations that are purely speculative. It also said that comparison with the Lingam case in 2007 is unwarranted at this stage. This is as in the current scenario, the claims are only based on procedural irregularities and assumptions that are not supported by any strong evidence. It added that the JAC is empowered to regulate its own procedures, and in urgent situations, it is common for meetings to proceed with short notice if all members agree. Still on the topic, Pandan MP Rafizi Ramli said the AGC response only fuels speculations and shows why a full probe is needed now. In a statement, he said the AGC's own words indirectly confirmed three key concerns raised by him and 8 PKR MPs. First, there were delays in judicial appointments, with some JAC nominations not acted on. Second, the recent JAC meeting allegedly skipped a required 10-day notice. Lastly, was that allegations of a federal court judge influencing decisions and the reassignment of judges were indeed discussed in a JAC meeting. He also pushed back against the AGC's response that the allegations can't be considered as wrongdoing that has been proven or that impacts judicial independence. Rafizi said it's not the AGC's place nor its right to determine whether such allegations are premature or merely speculative. He argued that if the JAC's discussions are confidential, the AGC has no right to declare the claims baseless. He added that this is precisely why he recommended that an RCI be established to investigate and decide on these allegations. Meanwhile, Rafizi also noted the relevant constitutional provisions on appointments. However, he insisted that not immediately naming successors for the vacant Chief Justice and Court of Appeal President's posts suggested that the Prime Minister disagreed with the candidates that the JAC proposed. He claimed that from the public's perspective, it fuels speculation that the executive is attempting to influence the appointment of judges deemed more aligned with the government's views. He said if the Prime Minister's constitutional duty is to safeguard the judiciary's independence, credibility and integrity, then actions that could invite speculation of undue influence, even if not procedurally wrong, must be avoided. Lawyers for Liberty co-founder Latifah also commented on the matter, saying she was appalled by the AGC's response. In a statement, she referred to the AGC's response to allegations on the federal court judge and said it is unacceptable that the AGC had brushed them aside as a mere procedural irregularity. Latifah added that the claims against the judge went against the core of judicial impartiality and integrity. She stressed that court decisions must be made strictly on the facts of the case and nothing else. She added that any external interference amounts to corrupt conduct, which must be probed immediately, swiftly, and independently. Latifah also criticized the AGC for prematurely deciding that the allegations were not backed by strong evidence, questioning whether they had carried out any investigations before coming to such a conclusion. She also said that the AGC, brushing aside concerns about judicial appointments, does not address questions about why the Prime Minister did not act on the Judicial Appointments Commission's recommendations from when Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat was the Chief Justice. Latifah said the AGC also did not address concerns as to why some judges were granted a 6-month extension after reaching the mandatory retirement age, but not Tengku Maimun. A PKR veteran said the call by 9 of the party's MPs for the RCI into judicial appointments implies that they have lost confidence in Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. According to Pasir Gudang MP Hassan Karim, the RCI demand by Rafizi Ramli and 8 party backbenchers raises serious questions about the Prime Minister's integrity. He told Malaysiakini that the move signifies a direct internal revolt against Anwar as both PKR President and Prime Minister. Hassan said that Anwar, with full constitutional powers, now faces the prospect of being investigated under a mechanism his own party MPs are pushing for. He also warned that rejecting the RCI could damage Anwar's image even further. This is as the MPs have raised a legitimate and meritorious issue, making it the elephant in the room. He said the move is progressive, radical and popular with the people, but said it carries real political risk. He also questioned if the 9 PKR MPs are ready to face the fall of Anwar as a result of demanding the RCI. Hassan noted that the MPs may be acting in the long-term interest of the nation and in defense of PKR's reformist ideals, even if it means challenging Anwar's leadership. He said that their action is the most direct, intense and courageous challenge yet, and it comes from mostly senior MPs. Hassan added that the Prime Minister must handle the situation with wisdom upon his return from abroad, noting that judicial independence is not a small matter and it is a very serious issue. However, despite his sharp critique, he stressed that he has confidence in Anwar and will continue to support his leadership. Bersatu's Wanamas Wanamas Kamal has defended Nurul Izzah Anwar's new advisory role in the Selangor Information Technology and Digital Economy Corporation. He dismissed allegations of nepotism and pointed to her qualifications. He highlighted her qualifications, including her degree in engineering, as evidence that she has what it takes to further grow SIDEC. Wan Faisal told Malaysiakini that he thinks Nurul Izzah is the best person for the role. According to him, Nurul Izzah's relation to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim was just an added advantage that could help smoothen her role in SIDEC. He stated that he didn't see any problem and nepotism is no longer a problem in this government. On July 3rd, SIDEC announced that Nurul Izzah was appointed as its advisor. SIDEC said it believed she would bring valuable insights into public policy, socio-economic development, and digital empowerment. Selangor Menteri Besar Amiruddin Syari also backed the appointment. He said Nurul Izzah's experience and role in developing the nation's semiconductor industry would be an asset in developing the sector in Selangor. If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysiakini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe. The United States has announced a blanket 25% tariff on all Malaysian products sent to the country starting August 1st this year. The new rate is 1% higher than what Washington announced in April, and it applies across the board, separate from any sector-specific duties. In a letter sent to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, US President Donald Trump said that the 25% number is far less than what is needed to eliminate the trade deficit disparity the US has with Malaysia. However, he said there would be no tariff if Malaysia or Malaysian companies choose to manufacture in the US, and he promised they will do everything possible to get approvals quickly, professionally, and routinely in a matter of weeks. There was also a warning. If Malaysia retaliates by raising its own tariffs, Trump said the US will add that number on top of the existing 25%. Malaysia has been in talks with Washington since April to reduce the 24% tariff imposed earlier. This latest announcement came just ahead of US Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Kuala Lumpur. Rubio will be in Malaysia for the ASEAN-US Post-Ministerial Conference and the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. Yesterday, 9 PKR lawmakers led by former Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli called for an RCI as well as the Parliamentary Special Select Committee on Institutional Reforms to investigate judicial interference allegations. Following this, we asked the public whether they thought an RCI is the right move to ensure judicial independence. Let's take a look at the results. 80% of voters agreed that an RCI is the right move and will ensure transparency in judicial appointments. 7% disagreed with an RCI as it could create instability in the judiciary and is a waste of time. Meanwhile, 10% agreed with a probe on the matter so long as it is impartial. Several voters said many have voiced out about the issue and called for Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim to take action on the issue. The PKR MPs who had called for the RCI were also praised for their action. What are your thoughts on the issue? Join the discussion and share your views in the comment section below. That is all for me today. For more stories, you can go to Kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.